Hello Puerto Rico from a cold and wintry Glasgow. It's James here. I'd like to say thank you firstly to you all for coming along tonight to my mum and dad's surprise party for the 45th wedding anniversary. Who'd have thought it? I'd like to take you down memory lane a wee bit and give you a couple of insights and snippets about my mum and dad. Now, my mum and dad met in the 60s, and legend has it, but you need to ask my dad tonight, that it wasn't my mother's dark Italian good looks that attracted him to her in the first instance. It was in fact a leather coat. Yes, legend has it that my dad was actually going to try and steal her leather coat from her. Now you can confirm that or not, Dad. Throughout the next 5 minutes or so I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, but what I will need, Marion, is I'll need you to interpret for the English. Wee bit of Rab C. Nesbitt. So if I say a real Glasgow saying which nobody else will know, I'll pause for a second, Marion will run round the pub and explain it to all the English people, including you, Arthur, and we'll move on. So where do we start? My mum was born and grew up in Corn Street in Glasgow, and my dad came from the town head. My dad was a wee bit of a toe rag when he was younger, and ran about with a few wild guys in his time, it has to be said. But I have to say that some of these guys, including my dad, there was a bit of an element of the Robin Hood about them. For example, Dad, you remember the time when my granny's neighbour, her man died young with no life insurance, and the woman had no money to bury her husband. And what did you and your pals do? You went and broke into the undertakers and stole a coffin for her. Yep, folks, without a word of a lie, Jimmy went in, stole the coffin, and that man was buried in that stolen coffin, but at least that woman was able to bury her husband. And that's the sort of Robin Hood 1960s style person that my dad was. So I'll tell you about the time when my dad was going up to see his prospective outlaws for the first time, and he was going up to meet this guy here. Yep, that's my granda John Murray. Nose like a boxer, grunted, 6 foot tall. Jimmy wasn't looking too forward to going and meeting him. So he wanted some backup to take with him for moral support. Now, given some of his pals that I've told you about are a bit wild, he looked around some of them and thought, who's the most sensible one I could take? And he took a wee guy called Robert. Robert's nickname was Knocky, because he used to knock stuff. So Marion, this is the first interpret for the English moment. Thank you, Marion. Yes, if you knock something in Glasgow, you actually steal it. So Robert could get in and out of warehouse vans, in and out of warehouses himself, at a blink of an eye. The guy was a real art. But how would I describe Robert? He was like a fat Elton John. So you can imagine Jimmy, and he was a wee bit lighter, a wee bit thinner then, he had a wee bit more hair, sitting at the edge of a couch, like a quiet wee lamb. Yes, I kid you not, Jimmy that walks about Puerto Rico with his Celtic tope, singing his songs in his shorts, with his belly hanging out, was like a wee quiet lamb sitting on the couch, nodding his approval, yes Mr Murray, no Mr Murray. Meanwhile his pal Robert was in the kitchen making the tea with my nana. Now during this conversation my nana did say to Robert, I must apologise about the state of that lobby carpet. Marion, interpret for English. Thank you. Lobby is your hall. So basically when you're in my nana's house, the hall was a wee bit threadbare, hall carpet. So Robert duly looked at the size of this hall carpet. Within the next week, miraculously found himself in a carpet warehouse when nobody else was in the warehouse. And within a week, my nana had a brand new hall carpet and underlay delivered to her house. And I think that maybe swayed you and put you in the good books with my nana. So that's where they first met. They were married in 1967 in December, and not quite 9 months later I popped out. I think that was because, as my ma says, she didn't kick the biscuit tin away quick enough. So Marion, another interpret for the English moment. Thank you. Yes, adequate contraception wasn't used during an intimate moment, and 6 months later, moi popped out. May 1968. I was followed by my brother Stephen, and it was the day of Princess Anne's wedding, in fact, in November 1974. And my mum had quite a tough time during Stephen's birth, basically because he came out with his school bag and his school shoes on. As you can see from this picture, he was a heifer. That's a chubby boy. But she came out of hospital early, and I think the reason for that was I was going up to visit her with my dad, and my mum noticed something wasn't right with me. And upon closer inspection, it turned out that my dad wasn't actually washing my school shirts. He was just turning them inside out. So they were a wee bit dirty and stuff. So my mum thought right away, right, I need to get home and sort him out. So she duly left hospital before she should have done, probably, to look after me. So we stayed in Endrick Street, first of all, which was a wee sing-a-lane. Marion, interpret for English. Thank you. A sing-a-lane is basically a room and kitchen, very, very small. We then moved to Flemington Street, where we were upper close. Marion? Thank you. Upper close is one of those traditional Glasgow tenements that you sometimes see in documentaries. We moved from there to a front and back door, which was a big thing then, to Milton, where we probably spent the majority of me and Stephen's childhood, and we had a fantastic time there. The family itself, Sarah was the oldest grandchild. She was born on the 25th of May. And you want to shout that to the Highlander, Marion? 25th of May. It's a great date. You like it in there. That was 1995. Followed by Rebecca in March 1997. And then Kieran was born, his oldest grandson, in August 1999. And then Shorty came along. Christina, who's not a grandson, but it's really a tomboy. She was born in 2005. And we've had another chubster, Stephen's boy, Lewis, who looks about 2, but he's actually less than 1. And that's the extent of the family at the moment. So, we're no there, trees, don't worry, don't look behind you, we're no there, honestly, I can assure you, but I want to send this wee message to let everybody know a wee bit of your background. I hope you have a fantastic night. I know that we miss you, and I know that you miss us. No, me and Stephen certainly, but the grandwins. You miss the grandkids, and they all miss you. Moving Out There is still the best movie ever made. Despite selling me your Duff House, I think you've got the sun in your back. He's still alive, which is remarkable. But the most important thing about Moving Out There is that you've actually found what I would call a true friend to both of you and Marion. Marion, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of all the family as Heat spokesman to say thank you very much for making tonight a special night for them. Obviously we can't date when you're back here. You are a true friend to both of them, and I really appreciate what you've done for them. So thank you. So have a fantastic night, and I'm sure we'll hear about the stories soon. Love you. Take care. Bye bye.